right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the ABA section of Civil Rights and Social Justice's CRSJ 101, a membership event where you can learn everything that you might want to know or need to know to get involved in the ABA's only membership entity that is geared towards civil rights and social justice. We're so excited to have you today. I'm first going to allow my colleagues and friends here who are presenting with me tonight to introduce themselves, and then we're gonna go into our presentation. But welcome, and we're delighted to see all 42 of you. And I'll turn it over to Beth.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Beth Whittenbury, and I'm the chair-elect of the section. So as of the end of the week, I guess I will officially be chair of the section. So I'm so happy to be here with you. At the end of our short presentation, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Alli, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alli Kielsgard. I'm the Associate Director for the section, here to answer any questions. And we're excited to be bringing you this presentation. I'll turn it over to Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa Hodek. I'm the editor of Human Rights Magazine, and I will talk a little bit more about the magazine in a bit.
Great. So we can get a better sense of who all is on the call and what you might want to know today. We're going to put up a couple of polls just so that we get a better sense of who all's on the call. So if you could go ahead and answer poll 1, and then we will go to poll 2 after we see the results.
Great. Right now we're seeing it's about a third of you are prospective members, a third are ABA members but not section members, and a little bit more are their section members. And we're thrilled if you're a section member or not a section member. This is a great way to figure out how to get more involved and work on your passion projects, and how we can advance your goals in these projects as well. Yeah, so we're really 30, 32, and 38%.
Okay, and I see that we also have a student who's joined us, which is wonderful. So students, I believe, especially if you're law students, can join the section and the ABA for free. And so we would really like to encourage you to join the section. If you are a high school student or younger than that, type in the chat and we'll let you know how you can participate in what we do.
Okay, about 60% of those of you who are joining us today are lawyers. We have some law students and our wonderful associate, what they call associate members of the ABA, or non-lawyer advocates. So welcome to everybody.
Great, and I did see that we have joining us master's students in computer science, so we can always use that support, can't we, Alli? So I'll let Alli and Paula just then step in briefly and tell that person how they can join and be part of our section. One of you want to?
Yeah, so students can join the ABA for free. There is a link that we will put into the chat on how to join the section or the ABA, and you can always reach out to me. We're going to go to the next slide so that you can get our contact information.
Well, we'll go to that slide in a little bit. How's that? Why don't you go ahead and put the link in the chat where they can join. And while you're doing that, I'll just talk for a moment about the section itself. So many of you probably know that we consider our section to be the conscience of the ABA. I will tell you that I joined this section because it really was so in line with all the reasons why I went to law school to begin with. I went to law school because, like so many of us, I wanted to make a difference. And, you know, although I ended up in labor and employment law and felt I was making perhaps a small difference, it wasn't quite on the scale that I had initially envisioned. And I think that happens to a lot of us. So, you know, keep that desire within our hearts. And the CRSJ is the section where, with whatever time you have outside of your practice area, or if your practice area does happen to be civil rights, you can, you know, spend whatever time you have making that difference through the work of our section. And it's wonderful because you can do it with, you know, as much or as little time as you have. And I have found that personally to be just so rewarding. It's kept me grounded. It's made me feel like I'm contributing. It's the warm and fuzzy part of what I do as a lawyer, quite frankly. So I started as a committee member and then became a committee leader and worked my way up. And we'll talk about that a little more when we get to section leadership. But for the moment, I just wanted to let you all know that, you know, we are here and our heart's in the right place and we all march to the same drum, and we would love you to join us and have lots of opportunities, as you'll see in a minute, for ways that you can contribute.
And for those students too, I just wanted to tell you a little about myself, and I'm the director of the section. I actually interned for the section when I was in college during my junior year, and had such an amazing experience that when I graduated, I came to work for the ABA for a year, but I decided that I needed to go to law school. And based on the work that I had done with the section, with the section's death penalty due process review project, with our Rights of Women's Committee, I really focused my law school career on working on those two topics. I worked a lot with the Innocence Project and criminal justice issues stemming from my work with CRSJ. And I got involved as a law student with the ABA. So I became a liaison from the law student division to the section. And then I ran for a leadership position. And it was a great experience for me. So, and then I came back after law school. So there's lots of ways to get involved in the section, and becoming involved as a student is a great way to start early.
Okay, Alli, can you put up our third and final poll? So we would really like to know what you're most interested in hearing about today so that we can tailor the balance of our time to what you tuned in to hear about.
Very informative, this question.
Okay, it looks like projects and initiatives were the #1 thing people want to hear about, which is great because we have a slide on that in just a minute. So why don't we kind of quickly go through the rest of the slides so we can get to that one and then spend the balance of our time there. All right, so the section organization is fairly simple. We have an executive committee that is made up of the chair-elect, the vice chair, and the secretary, as well as our 2 delegates to the ABA House of Delegates, our finance officer. And so that's the group that has to make kind of all the really tough decisions, but we delegate most of the decisions to our section council, which is comprised of a group that is elected every year at annual meeting. And they basically run the business of the section day to day when they meet 4 times a year. Underneath the council, we have our 22 substantive committees, which you'll see a list of in a moment, which provide wonderful ways to get involved in any area of civil rights or social justice that you might be particularly interested in. We also have our operational and council committees, which include our membership and diversity committee, as well as our finance and development committee. You can see that we have the section projects off to the side, and that's what everybody seemed really excited about. And that also feeds in through the council. And then we also have liaisons that bring our concerns and our projects to the notice of other ABA liaisons and keep us in touch with what we're doing or what they're doing so that we can all work together in a unified sense to bring things forward. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So our section leadership at the moment consists of Angela J. Scott, who is our current chair, and you can see her pictured there. I will follow her as chair-elect next year, and Juan Thomas will follow me, and then he'll be followed by Robin Runge. We have our 2 section delegates, who is Mark Schickman and Paul Wolfson currently, and they represent us in the House of Delegates, voting on our behalf on resolutions and also taking our resolutions and advocating for them to be passed in the House of Delegates. Our budget officer is Richard Soden, and our immediate past chair is Wendy Mariner. And then, of course, you can see our wonderful section staff, 2 of whom are on the call today, and our third, Ruchika Sharma, who is invaluable to the section but couldn't be with us today. And we don't really need to read off all these people, but you can see the amount of people here that we have on the section council. We also have special counsel that oversee the work of the committees and help them do their job and help them prepare resolutions and other things in a manner that they can get passed by the House of Delegates. And you can see that we have other specific liaisons as well. Alli, did you want to talk about these?
Sure. So part of my role as the associate director is to oversee the work of our section substantive committees. As you can see, they cover a wide range of topics. I like to call them our areas of interest, or our topic area committees. And so we encourage all members to join. You do have to be a member to join. But you can do so through your My ABA account. It's really simple. You go to your My ABA account and then you select your memberships, and then next to our section's name, you can select join committees. You can also email the section or email myself directly, and I can manually add you into these committees. Participation in any of these committees can be a wide range of things. It could be just simply being on the listserv and getting the information from the committee leaders and other members of the committee. It can be joining monthly committee calls. It can be raising your hand on one of these committee calls and joining the latest initiative, or taking a stab at drafting a resolution that they're working on. So joining one of these committees doesn't hold you to anything. It doesn't mean that you have to do something, but it allows you the opportunity to network with these individuals. And I'm happy to answer any questions on the committees.
Okay, why don't we go on to projects and initiatives, since that was the bulk of the questions that people had. Okay, so this is just a partial list of what we do as a section that's outside of committee work. And the Civil Rights Civics Institute, they have at the top there, is something we're in the middle of putting together right now. It's going to be the seminal initiative for my year. And basically what we've done is we've solicited student questions on civil rights from around the country, and we're now in the process of answering those. So it's an opportunity to give students or it's a way to give students an opportunity to ask the questions that we know are on their minds and have been for the last couple of years for sure, right? And with the understanding that if we all had a better understanding of civics, perhaps we would all be rowing more together as a nation. And so this was our way of addressing that need. So if you're interested in getting involved with answering those student questions, we would love your help with that. We're hoping to launch this on our website the beginning of the next bar year, probably in September. Next, we have the Civil Rights Connection, which was the brainchild of our current chair, Angela Scott, and that is to identify pro bono opportunities from organizations around the country. So it gives you a list of, if you want to be able to help in a pro bono opportunity somewhere, where could you do it? Who needs your help? What does that consist of? We're putting all of that together for you so that you can have a one-stop shop for finding out how you can help. The Voting Rights Service Initiative, that is something that also was started this year under our current chair, and we're excited to keep going. It allows you to really work and help with voting rights issues across the country. So we invite you to visit that on our website and learn more and see how you can get involved that way. We also have our longstanding death penalty due process review project that Paula said that brought her into this section, or was one of the things that brought her into this section. Allows you to help to work on those issues, and our HIV/AIDS impact project as well. So those are some of our current projects and initiatives. We have a more full list on the website. And again, at the close, which we're getting close to, we're happy to take any specific questions that you have about what we're doing in terms of projects. We quickly go to Human Rights Magazine.
Yep, I'm Melissa Hodek. I'm the editor of Human Rights Magazine. The magazine is one of the top member benefits of being a civil rights and social justice member. You get the magazine, which is quarterly free. We've been around for about 50 years. And the editorial board is made up of a chair and 11 editorial board members. And with those people, I help plan the future issues. And it's a great way to get involved, whether you're interested in writing for the magazine or helping to share ideas for content or becoming active on the editorial board. We would love to have your participation. Recent issues that we've published have focused on voting, policing, immigration, economic justice, and most recently, our science issue. So please feel free to reach out with any questions you have, or if you're interested in getting involved. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. And next we'll talk about our seminal award that we honor people with, which is the Thurgood Marshall Award. Paula, did you want to take that one? You're muted, Paula.
Yes, thanks, Beth. I was busy responding to messages in the chat, but we're so delighted that this year we're honoring, this is going to be the 30th anniversary of our Thurgood Marshall Award. The first award went to Justice Marshall in 1992. And in fact, we're really excited. Clarence Jones actually clerked for Thurgood Marshall when he was at the NAACP and did research for him. And he was Dr. Martin Luther King's speechwriter as well. He's an incredible inspiration. We have this tremendous 1-hour program with a very special guest at the end for this Friday at the annual meeting. If you are at all interested, it'll give you a lot more details too about our leaders, our section, what we do, and what we've accomplished. If you are interested, Alli is going to put my email again in the chat, and it'll come up on the next page. But please reach out to me if you want to join us there. It's going to be a tremendous event. The other thing is that all of our events for the annual meeting that's upcoming this week are open and available to members to sit in and listen on. And it really is a great way to see what the CRSJ community is and how what projects we do. Our leaders will all be reporting out about everything they've accomplished in the past year. We'll be planning for the next year. But the Thurgood Marshall event is truly a special, it's the premier event for the annual meeting. It's a special occasion. So if you do want to join us, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And again, you have my information.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paula. We would really love you to join us for this year's Thurgood Marshall if you can. So I hope that you're ready to join the section if you haven't, and if you already have, that you have a better sense of where you would like to participate. At this point, we'd love to open it for questions. I know there have been some going on in the chat, but this is a chance for us to just be informal and answer whatever you have to ask. I do want you to all know we consider our section to be one big happy family. And so we would really love for you to join our family as we do amazing work next year. You know, this is the time when our section's work is so truly needed. So there literally cannot be enough members helping us to do what we know needs to be done for our nation and our communities. So Please join, please get more involved. We are here for you and we're excited to work with you. I see everybody saying it's exciting, and it is. It's really exciting. I'm so glad you feel that way. Are there any questions? We don't want to keep anyone any longer than we need to because we know you're all busy, but we'd be very happy to answer any further questions you might have. Okay, I'm seeing everybody seems to say they have already sent their emails in. And I think I saw, Melissa, did you put in the contact information for Human Rights Magazine? Someone's asking for that.
I did. I posted my email address in the chat. So please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions or ideas about getting involved with the magazine.
And we can go back to the slide that has all of our committees. I know that some people who are on the call are interested in figuring out which committees work on what issues. I know it's a lot of information on this slide right here. So if you wanted to take a look, and if there are any questions specific, we do have a specific disability rights committee for the person that asked about that. But
sorry, go ahead.
We do have a number of retired members of the bar in the section. We have retired judges. We have inactive members of the bar. We have longtime members of the advocacy community that have never become lawyers, that have, focused their whole lives on education issues or environmental justice issues, that join and become and work with our sections to make sure that we are promoting what they want to work with. One of the great things about our committees, for example, in our environmental justice committee, has a number of leaders and members that are involved in, one example is ELI, the Environmental Law Institute. And so what they do is they let us know of their amazing programs and the projects that they're working on so that we can co-sponsor their event and we can promote their events that are in line with our objectives as well, to our 30,000 list of connections that we have and to the members of the ABA. And that's one great thing that it can happen across all of these committees. If you have projects and programs that you want to share with the section and the committee, it's a really great way to bring involvement and eyes into the work that you do in your everyday lives or in your volunteer lives. We have a lot of people too that are large firms that they don't get to necessarily do the work, the civil rights work that necessarily brought them to law school or that they're passionate about, but this gives them an opportunity to do some of that extra work. One of the projects that you can get involved in is we even do volunteer sessions. So the ABA, and this we'll be doing this on Wednesday of this of the annual meeting. We all join as a group and then we go and we break out and answer free legal answers. It's a project that the ABA has that the section has partnered with to provide free legal information to members of the community that don't necessarily have access or the funds for a lawyer. And you get even if you're a law student or you're not a lawyer, you can partner with section members who are barred and you can continue to answer the questions and learn. It's a great learning opportunity too. So, we do a lot of different projects like that.
I just want to point out Carl's question asking where does he get more information on the detailed work of each committee. As you can imagine, a website cannot elaborate on what all the committee is doing. So the best way to figure it out is to attend our council meeting when the committees are giving their reports. It's truly the best way for you to understand the work that they do. Each committee will give a report on the work that they've done this year, and because it's happening so soon, I think it's perfect time. Paula, do you remember on which day our committees are reporting?
They're going to be reporting on Saturday, although yes, on Saturday at 12:30 Eastern.
And I'd like to also add that, you know, this doesn't have to be your practice area. For example, I got involved with the section in the education committee, and I'm not an education lawyer at all, but I am a mother. And so I really cared a lot about education. And I was able to do some amazing things through that committee that I would never have been able to do otherwise. We did an entire focus group across the nation on what people thought should be included in a right to education if there were a national right to education. We ended up putting all of the findings of those focus groups in a book and publishing them under the CRSJ publication heading. So, you know, it's really an amazing way to get involved in things that you care about, but that are not necessarily your area of expertise or your practice area. And again, to feel like you're making a difference. And I'll also say that, you know, that is the way that I rose into leadership in the section, was through my work in the committees. And that's how a lot of people have come up to the, you know, chair position, is through their work in the committees. So it's a great place to get started. You can join up to 3 committees if you join the section. And if you decide those aren't the right 3 committees for you, you can certainly switch around at any time. And you'll find your home, because there's just so many things that we cover that I'm confident that you will find your home, and maybe more than one. I'm always pulled in many directions, wanting to do work in a lot of different areas that mean something to me. So I'm sure you'll find a plethora of riches in that respect.
Yeah, and I would say that the committee do a bulk of the work of the section. You know, in addition to the projects that Beth mentioned, the projects and initiatives, our committees do so much work for the section, drafting resolutions, organizing webinars, you name it, they do it.
And we should spend just a moment on the policy resolutions, because we really didn't touch on that. But, you know, one of the major things we do as a section is to constantly be watching what's going on in the legal landscape, what's affecting civil rights and social justice issues. Where does policy need to be placed? You know, what does it need to say if there isn't any already? And so if we find something like that that we feel strongly about, and we want to take the lead in shaping what that national policy should be, then we write our own policy resolutions and send it to the ABA House of Delegates and advocate for it to be passed there. And if it is passed there, then that gives us the opportunity to advocate for it on a national level, both with lobbying and also, you know, letting people know that this is the way we think it should be done through our webinars and other means that we have at our disposal. And so it's an amazing way for one person to have a national voice if you feel very strongly about something, and we can guide you through that process of how to write the type of policy resolution that will get passed and then can be considered ABA policy, so then the ABA can speak on it with a collective national voice. So it's a really powerful way to leverage, you know, your one voice into a much more robust and louder message that can be heard. All right, I'm seeing that we're nearing the end of our time, at least by my watch. Are there any last parting questions for us? And we want to make sure that everybody knows how to join. You can see on the slide right there is the link, although we've just discussed it, you can't click on it on the slide. So maybe we can retype it one more time into the chat, because you can click on it in the chat. And if you haven't already joined, please do so, because we're just so excited for all the good work ahead of us and for doing it with you. Oh, archived human rights magazines. That's an excellent question. Melissa, where can people find the archived human rights magazines online?
Alli, do you have that on the slide?
I don't
The
think
human-
it's on the slide. We have up to a certain point on our website. So if you go to our section's website and then navigate to publication, there will be a human rights magazine page. So
Paula just put it in the chat for everybody as well.
exactly.
Thank you.
So from there in the bottom, you should be able to scroll and it will have many of our human rights magazines going back to certain points, and we're working to ensure that they are all digitized and on the web.
And then I just saw a question about the pro bono connection platform.
And I just added that link. And those we are continuing to constantly update. We're getting a ton of new organizations that would like to be included and that are seeking volunteers, and from everything for 3-hour projects to ongoing 20 hours a week projects. There is a ton of initiatives and organizations that are really looking for people to volunteer with. So we hope that that is a great resource for you as well.
And if you know of any organizations that you think would be a good fit, we encourage you to send them this survey. There's a survey on the landing page that Paula just sent out. They just need to complete that survey, and once they have, we'll add them to the website.
Yeah, your organization, an organization that you volunteer with, that you're on the board of, that you love, feel free to fill it out and connect us. We're all about connecting people to make an impact. But thank you so much for coming. You have all of our information here. So if you have a chance to email us and ask any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you everyone for attending and for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, have a great night.